As a kidney.
There we go.
Kidneys are good.
All righty. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, teacher.
Okay. All right. Great to see everybody. This is going to be so exciting today. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Okay, go ahead, Skip. Let's talk
Right.
to Erin.
You might want to share or give her the
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Here I am.
So
there you go.
I'm gonna lay down the law here a little bit and require that we start on time at 11:30 from now on and not wait for stragglers. I don't think you guys would come late if you had a listing presentation, and certainly you wouldn't if you were trying to catch a flight. So we don't want to conform to you guys. You conform to us. Now, that said, we are going to go over scams today, which is a popular topic these days. There's many kinds of scams, and Erin is like the queen of scams. Because of this, we're going to allow the presentation to go over an hour because I know that there's going to be way more information than we can fit into that short little time. There's if you guys can mute yourselves, that would be great. All right. There's over $12.5 billion lost every year to scams, and it's getting even worse. Even today's Wall Street Journal article was on a scam where a lady gets a phone call from her, what sounds like her daughter, but it wasn't. AI created it. And last week, even, there was a Wall Street Journal article on romance scams. Now, AI is creating more and more sophisticated scams, and they're getting harder to figure out. I mean, even the smart ones of us are getting caught in this a bit, and it's a huge industry, and it just is growing. So, a few months ago, I was watching the PBS NewsHour, and lo and behold, this lady by the name of Erin West came on and started talking about, well, like pig butchering, huh? And scams. And I got quite an education from it. So I hooked up with her in LinkedIn and decided to have her do one of our talks, which is what we want to do. And her Operation Shamrock is the company that she has developed for this. By the way, she is an ex-deputy district attorney for the Santa Clara County. She served that role for 26 years. And it seems like most of this is starting from Southeast Asia. And the thing that I wasn't aware of, which is like a big deal, is that it's not just the scam calls. There's human trafficking involved too, and the people that they traffic they force to do the scam calls. I'm sure we'll hear more about that. So it's really about awareness and prevention. We want to make sure that everybody um, is aware. And the thing is that as realtors, we have the fiduciary duty of educating our clients and letting them know. And this is just one of the topics that we need to have them be aware of, which is immensely important. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Erin, which has graciously agreed to be with us today. If you follow her on LinkedIn, she's got something going every day, and she travels all over the world, and we're really lucky to have her. So welcome, Erin, and thank you.
Gib, thank you for such a wonderful introduction. And it's rare that someone who's introducing me knows so much about it. So I was delighted to hear you're so familiar with the topic and you've paid attention to the PBS NewsHour. So that makes me happy. It really is a delight to be here talking to you guys today and to know that you're local. You are my local friends, and it's I'm going to talk to you about some things that are so important that you know about. And what I want you to do with this information is I want you to share it with your parents and share it with your children. Because there is such an idea out there that this is only happening to the elderly. And the fact is, statistics show us that as many victims are over 50 as are under 50. And so these scammers do not discriminate based on age. They will go after anybody that has money. So I have just noticed really, I've noticed the uptick in scams, but just in the last week, I've been screenshotting every time someone is trying to scam me. And I don't know if you guys are getting these too. I don't know if somebody has told you that you haven't paid a toll or that you have a UPS package to pick up or that they have a job for you. But these texts are becoming overwhelming. And I think what's important is that we realize what this is so that we can understand why it's so important to not respond to these people. So I am going to tell you about pig butchering. I am going to tell you that that is absolutely the worst threat coming at us right now, and it is a very targeted attack. So I'm eager to get started and share my knowledge with you. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is what is a pig butchering scam? And I love when I'm in person and I can ask. I was just in Nashville yesterday, and I asked the room, how many of you have heard of pig butchering scam? And it was attorneys general from all over the United States. And in this room of 150 people, maybe 10, 15 knew what this was. And so that just tells me I've got more work to do. So here I am today talking about pig butchering. I'm going to tell you how it will show up in your life. So you will get a text. So the pig butcherers are scammers that are reaching out and they're trying to get your attention. And they will do this in one of four ways. They will send you what appears to be a random text that might look something like this. Or they will show up on your LinkedIn and try to friend you. They will show up um, on a meta platform or a dating app. Basically, this is how the bad guys are trying to connect. Here's just another example. And they try to assume a position of authority in some way, or talking about my assistant, or I'm going on vacation to Half Moon Bay. They're talking about sort of an elevated status in life. And you'll notice in that text of the last one that I put up where it says, I hope I'm not disturbing you. That is a common phrase they will use. So what's important about this is to know what will happen next. So say you do respond to that text. The next thing that will happen is a picture that looks a lot like this will drop into the chat. And then the text, hi, this is Jessica. I hope I'm not bothering you. And you are all on a call right now where you know that you're learning about fraud and scams. But I'm here to tell you that most of us are not on that kind of alert all the time. And so this looks obviously like a scam to you. But the World Health Organization tells us that we are in a loneliness crisis right now. And we have a lot of people who never went back to work in an office after COVID. We have a lot of people sitting home alone who might not mind the opportunity to chat with Jessica on their phone for a couple hours. And they're counting on that. And so what Jessica will do, and I say Jessica, but this could easily be Ethan. This applies to men and women. I would say I see about 50% men, 50% women who are victimized in this way. But Jessica will then suggest that you move the conversation to WhatsApp. And the reason she's doing that is she knows now that Meta's looking for her. LinkedIn is looking for her. They know that she is preying on their platform, and they are trying to get her off their platform. So she's going to move that conversation to WhatsApp. So again, when you're thinking about when I go through this today, I want you to think about places where we could intervene, where we could do better, because I am here to tell you that this is a crisis like none other. This is spreading like wildfire, and people are losing not a little bit of money, but every penny they have. That is the nature of pig butchering. So she's going to move your conversation to WhatsApp, and then begins a 90-day period where she is going to tell you all about her life. Guaranteed, she plays golf. She does yoga because she thinks those are things that are appealing to men. And These scammers have perfected their craft over 5 years, and they know that actually this does appear to be appealing to men, and it's working. And that's the thing, is they've perfected this craft and no one has slowed them down. This is the most lucrative scam that has ever hit us, and it is netting billions and billions of dollars. So during this 90-day period, she is going to become the girlfriend that you wish you had. She's going to be attentive to everything about you. She's going to know everything about you. She's going to want to know what you had for dinner, and she's going to tell you about her elevated life. She will tell you that she's going to the car dealership to pick up her new Range Rover. She will tell you that she won't be available for a minute because she's getting on a flight to Maui. She will be showing and showcasing this fantastic life that you wish you had. And she's going to appear to be in love with these victims. And that is what is crushing people, is that the hormones and the endorphins that come from having this new love in your life is a lot to overcome. We've got a lot of lonely people out there who really can be taken advantage of in this way. I want to tell you, the thing I do about my presentations is I'm always adding the latest, the newest tricks and what's happening. So I am in the Over 50 Women's Travel Club on Facebook because I am all of those things and I love travel. And so I noticed after the beginning of the year that there were some exceptionally attractive women joining my Over 50 Women's Travel Club. They did not quite look like this hot mess after a long haul flight. They look like they are posing for a magazine. So this one caught my attention one night when I was up, and it said, "Hi, I'm Emily from Nashville." And then she talks about her divorce and how she was taken advantage of. And I looked at that picture and I thought, this is not Emily from Nashville. So I did a reverse image search on Google and found that no, in fact, she is Antje Maranka. She is a German influencer. And what I later found out, someone reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, "Oh, I know her. I am a host on QVC in Germany, and she is my co-host." So that's what's happening here. So I saw this. This story is also an inspiration to you to police your own part of the internet. That a lot of us look at this problem and we think, I don't even know what I could do about this. I don't even know how I could be helpful. Well, let me tell you, you could be in your own piece of the internet, see something like this, screenshot it, talk about it on LinkedIn. That's how we get through this crisis, is we normalize scams and we normalize this is what's out there and they are coming for us. We can't be embarrassed. Like my dad, who bought himself, there's nothing my dad likes better than a good value and some sensible walking shoes. And he was on Facebook and saw an ad for Hoka's at half price. And he thought, well, that sounds like a deal. And he gave him his credit card number. And sure enough, of course, they're just harvesting his information from him. But we've got to talk about my dad, and we've got to talk about, hey, at Friends, if you see this ad for Hoka's, don't fall for that. So here's what I did with Emily from Nashville. I took these pictures, I posted them on LinkedIn, and I said, hey, this is what I found last night. Let's be wary of who is infiltrating our own circles. And the very next day, I got an email from a banker in Nashville. And he said, thank you so much for posting this. I matched with Emily from Nashville on Bumble, or at least that photograph. So thank you for protecting my heart and my wallet. And that's how we make change, friends. It's one post at a time. And maybe there were others who were too embarrassed to respond to me, but we saved one person, and that's one person more than we did yesterday. So this is how they're coming to where you are. So be on the alert for who's in your groups on Facebook, because there are many of them who are there for nefarious purposes. Now you think, well, what is Emily doing? Well, what she's doing is she's creating this profile and she's making friends, which makes it more legitimate. And as she makes friends, what she will do is say, do you know how I'm able to afford this beautiful cashmere sweater I'm wearing? It's because I invest in cryptocurrency, and you could too. So That's how the scam works. They're going to reel you in over time. They're going to lead you to believe that you have the relationship you've dreamed of, and now you have an opportunity to make yourself wealthy. How do you do that? Well, here's the next common thing that they say always. I invest in cryptocurrency. I didn't know how, but my uncle taught me, and my uncle could teach you. There is always an uncle or an auntie who is going to be the actual teacher of how to do this. Now, a lot of the things that we say when it comes to scamming is, oh, don't give your money away to people you don't know. Okay, that's not what is happening at all. We need to change the way we think about this. What Emily or what Jessica is going to give her prey the opportunity to do is to invest for themselves and invest their own account. So here's how it works. She'll say, well, let's start off with just a little bit of money to prove to you that this works. Now, for you, that could be $500, it could be $5,000, it could be $50,000. You're going to take that money from your bank, and she is going to direct you to open up a cryptocurrency account. Now, these are all legitimate places that exist in the United States. You're going to open a legitimate account in your name that belongs to you. And then she's going to teach you how to use your US dollars and buy something called USDT or Tether. That is it's a stable coin. It's a cryptocurrency. It's 1 for 1. $1 buys you 1 Tether. Easy to understand and remember. So she will walk you through how to do that. Now, instead of the 5,000 US dollars you have in your account, you now have 5,000 Tether. Now, here's where the theft happens. You still own it in your crypto.com account. And then Jessica will say, my uncle says we should put it into this trading platform. Now, our victims are novices at cryptocurrency. They don't know, and they can't tell the difference between this platform or a JP Morgan platform. They both look real to them, and they're in love, and they trust Jessica, and Jessica's not going to lead them wrong. So here's where the theft happens. When the money comes out of your personal crypto.com account and goes into excess coin trade, that's when your money is stolen, because excess coin trade does not exist. It's fake. This is all a charade. What Jessica will lead you to do is put your money into a scammer wallet. Now, you think you're putting it into your own account here, and you've good reason to think that because you trust the person who's told you this, and they are going to show you a dashboard that shows your money that looks just like your Bank of America account or any other account. And then what they're going to show you is that your $5,000 has escalated to $6,800 to $7,500, and by the end of the week, your money is $10,000. And you think, oh my God, I could not be more lucky. I'm in love with this beautiful person who loves me, and I'm getting rich. And so then that's when Jessica goes in, and Jessica says, you know what you really need to do? You need to liquidate your retirement accounts. You need to put all your money in this. See how it works? And they do. They do. Our victims then liquidate their retirement accounts. They liquidate their children's college accounts, and they put every last penny they have into this because that's how the scam works. And then when they go to try and take some out, that's when they get this text. And this text says, well, you've got to pay 24% in taxes. And our victims say, oh, I didn't know that. And okay, so take it out of my gains. And they say, nope, has to be new money. And so then that's when our victims are going and getting a home equity line. They are getting a second mortgage against their house. They're doing a payday loan because they think this is going to be a quick turnaround. And then when they pay that 24%, which can be hundreds of thousands of dollars, they get this. Congratulations, you have successfully completed your taxes. And now you need to pay another $10,000 for a management fee or some nonsense. And so that's how these scammers are squeezing even more money out of our victims. Even when they thought they have squeezed that lemon as dry as they could, there's more money. And that's what they do. So by the time they get to me, I was a prosecutor for 26 and a half years. I dealt with sexual assault cases, kidnappings, rapes. I dealt with homicide. I have never seen a more devastated class of people than the victims of pig butchering, because they've lost everything. They've lost their entire financial footing. They're going to have to sell their homes. They have a massive loan that they've taken out. And the person behind this whole thing was the one person that they thought they could trust and that they trusted above all else. And they realized this person has been planning this since the day we met. And it's a travesty. So I want to tell you that this is no random thing. This is no India call center. This is no group of guys in Nigeria. This is a massive force that is coming at us from Southeast Asia. This is Chinese organized crime. And when I say Chinese organized crime, I don't mean that in any pejorative way. I mean that as legitimately, these are criminals from China who have been convicted of theft, of organized crime. They've been sanctioned. They are in the 14K triad. They are absolutely 100% card carrying organized criminals from China, and they are coming for us. And the amount is not small. We're talking about tens of billions of dollars just in 2023. Hundreds of billions of dollars that have been stolen from the United States and put into the hands of Chinese organized crime. One of the difficulties about these cases is it's difficult to figure out the data because there's not great data on this. What we do know is that we tell victims to report to IC3. That's the FBI's online portal. But here's what we also know. We know that only 1 in 7 probably do that because people are embarrassed. This is the most humiliating type of crime, which again works in favor of the scammers, that they've chosen a crime that's embarrassing for people to report. And so people don't. Now, when we look at these numbers, the other problem with IC3 is it doesn't directly include pig butchering. What it includes is investment scams. $4.5 billion in 2023. We're waiting for the numbers from 2024. They're still not out yet. But 4.5 billion in investment and 652 million in confidence romance. I add those together, I come up with over 5 billion. I multiply it times 7 because 1 in 7 people maybe are reporting this. And now we've got $35 billion lost from the United States alone in 2023 alone. And what we know anecdotally, certainly from the number of victims coming my way, is that this number is only increasing and it's increasing exponentially. And I will tell you more about how I know that. I want to talk to you about where this is happening. So this is Sihanoukville, Cambodia, and I want to rewind the tape a little bit and tell you a history of this. So Sihanoukville, Cambodia, you see this rural landscape there. You see water buffaloes. This is a pastoral, beautiful landscape. And what you see from above, this is the above picture of this, is that it was a beautiful seaside backpacker community. One of my colleagues said she was there 15 years ago and sat on the beach eating mangoes. That's what this was until Chinese organized crime decided, you know what, this would be a great place to build online casinos. Gambling is illegal in China. Cryptocurrency is illegal in China, but there is an appetite for it. So why not build this in Cambodia where we can get away with this? We're going to build online casinos. We're going to build real casinos, and we're going to build places for people to stay while they play in the casinos. So they built this. This is called Chinatown. It's in Sihanoukville. I have been focused exclusively on pig butchering for over 3 years now, and I've been lecturing about this specific location. So they built these towers, and then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, people weren't moving, and so they thought, well, we've got to do something else to fill this. What could we do? Oh, we could do sha zu pan. That's the Chinese word for pig butchering. Let's do this type of scamming, but to do that, we need a big workforce. How are we going to get that workforce? Well, we're going to advertise online. We're going to advertise on Meta, and we're going to make it look really real. Our enemy is skilled, just like those platforms that were for investments. This is the type of work they can do. So they put these out there. Now, there is a massive unemployment issue in China, and people are looking for jobs. In fact, a problem all over Southeast Asia. So when they see this, and that's a great salary and money that can be sent back home, this is a live-work environment. They go through interviews that seem very real, and they get hired. They think, wow, this is fantastic. And they get flown to Bangkok, Thailand. They arrive, their passports are taken, their phones are taken, and they are forced into those buildings that I just showed you. So they're forced into these buildings and the doors are locked and they are surrounded with guards with AK-47s. They cannot escape this now. Now they are slaves and they are forced to work 16 hours a day with their entire job to scam Americans out of all of their money. I've been wanting to go to Cambodia for quite some time, and I just in November of last year, I retired from my job as a prosecutor to focus on this full time. That's how big this problem is. So I retired. I started a nonprofit that is dedicated to fighting transnational organized crime. It is that big of a problem. And I took myself to Cambodia. And when I went there, I met up with some journalists and we drove 1,000 miles around Cambodia in 4 days. And believe me, those are not 1,000 miles on I-5. Those are some difficult miles. Those are some Highway 17 over the summit, and there's a rock slide kind of miles. So it took us quite a bit of time, but what I did get to see firsthand is what this looks like at the Vietnam border, at the Thai border, and in other places. And what I saw was horrifying. This is what it looks like from the ground. Those buildings that I showed you are now enclosed with walls like this. Those rooms that look like any type of university dorm house 6, 8 people in them, working these crazy shifts to be awake when Americans are awake so that they can scam us. And what I found, I had 3 takeaways from Cambodia. Number one, it's massive. Like looking at this, like the scale of this is really hard to get from just looking at this picture, but it's jaw-dropping in person. And it's happening right in the open. That's my second takeaway, that this is happening everywhere. It's not hidden. It's not a secret. You ask people walking down the street, hey, what's going on in that building? And they'll say, oh, online. They do online in there. You'll be like, what's online? And they'll be like, online. And we all know what it is. It's scamming. We know that's what it is because one of the colleagues I was with was Cambodian, and he was walking down the street in this location, and somebody stopped him and said, hey, are you looking for a job? We can pay you. And they gave him a number that was 3 times his regular salary to come inside and do this work. That's our problem. And our problem's even bigger with Trump's tariffs because they used to have a legitimate industry in Cambodia, and it was called garments. And people made garments. And now with the tariffs, the garment industry is not going to prosper. And what we're going to find is that even kind, well-meaning Cambodians are going to have no choice but to enter this very lucrative industry just to pay their bills. So one takeaway, it's massive. Number 2, it's in plain view. And number 3, it's growing. It's growing like I've never seen anything before. This picture is really illustrative. If you look at it, you can see the smaller building in the front. That was an original building that was built for this purpose. It housed, I don't know how many people, but they've been at this for 5 years now. And they've seen nobody's coming for them. And they're making money like nobody can even imagine. And so they're expanding. So look at the massive structure behind there. We don't have buildings that big in the United States that are in the middle of farmland. Imagine if you are driving to Tracy. You guys are all local Bay Area, right? Like imagine you're driving out there, you go through Livermore, you go over the Altamont Pass, and then there's structures like this. They're completely out of place. They have literally no function other than to scam us. That's what they're doing. That's what they're building. Everything is under construction. You drive through towns and there are dirt roads because they need to make more roads. Check the massive cell towers up there to accommodate this business and check the cranes. More structures, more building. You've never, ever seen anything like this, like that. You know, I was there and I thought, oh gosh, it looks like you're in Hawaii and they're building a new resort. Only it's not a resort, it's a jail. And that's what they're building over and over and over. The UN estimates 300,000 people in captivity being forced to do this work. We've never heard of anything like this. This is more slavery than slavery. And this is happening in 2025. And I was standing across the street from it. But it's not just Cambodia. This is Myanmar. Myanmar sits on the Thai, this is the Thai border with Myanmar. That river separates the two countries. And when you look at this picture, you can see KK Park. KK Park was the original scam center that was built for the sole purpose of scamming people. Those buildings with the red roofs are massive in person. They are multi-story buildings that hold multi people. They're massive. And I also had the chance, I've been there twice now to see KK Park. And what I want to show you is why we really need to be aware of what the enemy is doing. If you look at this, this is this. So this is that bend in the river, and you can see that in 2020, February 2020, there was nothing there. There was nothing there. They were grading it for building. And this is what it looked like 3 years later, is this entire city has been built in 3 years for the sole purpose of scamming. So you've got the one bend in the river and then the next bend in the river that's just farmland. So we go to this, that first bend in the river is completely built. And this is what it looks like today. The second bend in the river is completely built too. And I can tell you that I was on that river across the river from that area that looks undeveloped in the center. And as I stood there in February, that is now fully under construction and there are massive buildings there. They are not going to stop. Look at all the land that they have behind them. There is nothing slowing them down. There is no friction. Nobody's coming for them. And this is their business. So you heard me talk about pig butchering, but I can tell you that those toll texts are coming from here. I can tell you the job things are coming from here. I can tell you that all the mass scamming that you are seeing is coming from here. And Skip's right. AI is not our friend. AI is going to enable them to carry on more conversations at one time, and it's going to enable them to do the voice changing and the deep fakes that allow our victims to believe that they are actually talking to the person that they believe they are in love with. So when I was there, I'm always looking for the places where there is an opportunity to make a difference. This is looking at one of those red roof buildings at a closer view. I'm in the jungle on the other side of the river, and what you see on top of that red roof are dozens and dozens of Starlink receivers. That is how they are enabling the communications to happen. And here's a closer, oops, no, I thought there was a closer view, but what those are Starlink receivers. And so we are having American technology levied against us. They are able to do this dirty work because they have access to this type of internet service, and because they have access to Meta, and because they have access to LinkedIn. That's how they are accessing Americans. And it would be one thing if KK Park was the only thing over there, but I can tell you just down that river looks like this. Cookie cutter buildings, right as close together as they can be, using the least amount of real estate so that we can get the most amount of human trafficked people in there to do this work. And they are not stopping. What I also haven't gone into with you is the amount of violence that is done against the populations inside these. I'm talking about war crime level violence that is being executed against these victims. When I first heard about this, I heard about people being beaten with baseball bats and tased with tasers. What I know now is that they're forced to beat each other with baseball bats and do this in front of their peers, that they are hung by their arms in dark rooms and hit with tasers when they fall asleep. It's graphic, it's grotesque. There is no end to the sexual violence against women. It is horrific inside these buildings. Here's another one. And it shows the contrast between what's happening on that Thai side of the river where they're harvesting sugarcane and what's happening on the other side. And when I was there, I thought of the countless victims I've talked to who really believe they are in love and that their loved one is just traveling right now and can't talk to them, when really the person that they think they're in love with is inside one of these buildings under threat of torture, using high-tech equipment, in contrast to what seems appropriate for the area, which is just normal farm lifestyle. So let me tell you a little bit about how I personally got into this. I'm a prosecutor for Santa Clara County. I was attached to a high-tech task force. And in 2022, we got our first victim of pig butchering. He was a 30-year-old software engineer, and he told us that he had lost everything he had, $300,000. And he was devastated. And when the police officer first told me about it, he said, well, the money goes overseas and the money goes overseas and the bad guys are overseas. So I'm not sure what we do about this. I'm a big what if we could person. And I thought, well, we know how to trace cryptocurrency. We're one of the few places in the United States that does know how to trace cryptocurrency. What if we could trace that crypto and find it for him? And we did. And we found his money and we figured out how to work within existing regulations and laws to get that money back to him. And we were the first in the nation to do that. And so by the end of 2022, a judge signed 8 different orders releasing $1.5 million back to victims. So that was a huge victory. But what we found out shortly thereafter is there were a lot of more victims who needed our help. And so a victim came to us from Dallas and said, could you help us? Could you help me? And we did. We found that person's money. And then when we called the Dallas Police Department to say, okay, we're handing it off to you, Dallas said, well, we don't know cryptocurrency. We don't know what we're going to do about this. And then we called Orange County and we thought, well, certainly people in the state of California would know about this. And Orange County too said, we do not know about this and we are not going to be able to help that victim. So that did not sit right with me. It did not sit right with me that victims, depending on where they lived in the United States, could either get help or not get help. So I thought, well, what we need to do is we need to bring local and state law enforcement up to speed on what to do about these kind of cases. So I built something called the Crypto Coalition, and I gathered up everyone I knew in the United States that was doing this kind of work. There were some people that were great experts in Queens and in Manhattan. There was somebody outside of Minneapolis, somebody in Boise that could do this work. And I grabbed them all up and did a webinar. And 85 people came to that first webinar. And today we're over 2,200 local, state, federal, international law enforcement doing this work every day that know how to work with cryptocurrency and use it to identify bad guys and to get money back to victims. And so that's how we're building capacity in local and state. And it caught on. And now we have somebody from all the 50 states. We have lots of different international participants. And we're really proud that we are able to share information with each other. We do webinars. We have a library of best practices so people don't have to reinvent the wheel. And what I thought about that after my team and I built this is we've given law enforcement a really good start on what to do about this crisis, but it is a crisis and law enforcement alone is not going to be able to fix it. So what I thought is what we need is something that is cross-industry. We need something that is banking, telco, tech, law enforcement, diplomacy, NGOs over on the other side of the world, and victim services. And let's bring them all together and let's call it Operation Shamrock. And let's focus on what we can do. And what we can do is educate, seize, and disrupt. We've got to educate everyone. And that's why I never turn down an opportunity to have a webinar opportunity to talk to people like this, because I need you to know this, and I need you to tell your kids, and I need you to tell your parents. And we educate law enforcement how to do this. And now we're educating bankers of what this looks like when it comes into their branch. We are seizing what money we can seize. The bad actors have gotten better at concealing money, and it's been more difficult. And we disrupt where we can. I wrote a letter to Elon Musk a year ago asking him to shut off the Starlink to these locations. And I have to tell you that it got traction just 2 weeks ago. I don't even know why, but it was picked up by Wired magazine. And today I'm talking to NBC National News about it. So there are opportunities to disrupt what they are doing, to make it more difficult, more expensive, harder for them to do this dirty business. I also have done a ton of media to talk about this. Last year, my goal was to get this story on 60 Minutes and to testify before Congress. And so I was able to alert the people in the highest levels of government about what is happening. but that was before the change in administration. So I'm back at square one in terms of trying to educate our country that we have a massive threat that is laser focused on stealing all of our money. There's no question that that's what they're up to. That is their design. There was an article in The Economist that said that every morning these Chinese organized criminals make them do a chant inside the compounds, and it is disrupt the US economy, disrupt the EU economy. That's what they're out to do. This threat actor has the power of any nation state. It's crushing us. It's crushing us, and it's just not popular in the United States because people don't care about fraud. But what they're not seeing is that this is China infiltrating Southeast Asia, and this is organized crime taking a generation's worth of wealth from the United States. So I'm going to stay on top of it. That's what we do at Shamrock. We are an organization of action. We think every day about what we can do today that is one click better than what we did yesterday. And we are always looking around our shop to see how can we do this business better. And Shamrock is attracting all kinds of amazing people who want to be part of the solution. And I'm really proud of the team that we've developed and what we've been able to do with literally no budget. And so this is the year that we are a 501c3 and that we start our campaign for fundraising in earnest. But for the moment, we stay where we are, and we're doing great work even without funding. So so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to stop sharing. I have to tell you that this is a massive threat, and it is a threat not just of this pig butchering business, but every type of scam that is coming your way. They are constant, and we really need to be on guard against them. Happy to answer any questions if you guys have any questions.
Erin, if you don't have a slide for it, could you put your contact information in the chat? I know there was
sure
going to be
will.
people who want to reach out.
Yeah, I will do that.
Thanks. This is incredible. I
It's
hope you
kind of
people
mind-numbing, isn't it?
are beyond that. It's just
Yeah.
unbelievable. But yeah. Are you finding other countries besides the US are getting scammed quite a bit?
They are. So initially, this was focused on China itself because they had Chinese workers that are Chinese speaking, and they focused on China. But China flexed its muscle against this and said, nope, if you come after us, we will come shut you down. And they have done that a couple of times. So they refocused. And now that's why if you saw the ad that was at the beginning, they were looking for English speakers. And what I can tell you about the human trafficked is that they are now recruiting a lot of Africans because they speak English there. They're also expanding. It's not just the United States. I mean, sorry, it's not just Southeast Asia where these scam factories are flourishing. There was recently one in the Isle of Man. I saw one when I was in Dubai. I saw one in the Philippines. They are all over the world and expanding. This is a worldwide crisis where we are asleep at the wheel as the enemy just continues to develop and entrench itself. Margaret. You're on mute, Margaret.
I have a company, and we were scammed $12,000 by somebody from Nigeria. And when I reported it, the police were like, "Oh well," and they were doing concierge services, and they needed, it was my fault. And then the second time around, somebody called and said, "Margaret needs some credit cards, so you've got to get a whole bunch of credit cards." So somebody in my office cost $10,000, and then constantly I get on Facebook or any other app or WhatsApp or whatever, "How are you? Who are you? Do you want to talk?" And I delete them and I put them in fraud. Does that help? Because
So you've said a ton of things that are important. The first thing you said was that the police were not responsive, and I hate that for you, and that is not acceptable, and that's one thing I'm working on. Number two, you said it was your fault, and here's the thing. we are dealing with people who have hired PhDs to teach them how to manipulate us and trick us. So it's not your fault. You are a regular, trusting, normal person who got hit with an attack that this is what they do all day, every day. And you are absolutely right. They are everywhere. I forgot about the WhatsApp, like add you to a group, and now you can join this investment group. That is a problem. And so, yeah, so yes, I mean, I guess I would say, yes, it's great to report this as fraud. I hope that our colleagues in telco and social media are using that. I have not felt a ton of responsibility taken from either one of those industries.
Mm.
I'm sorry to tell you.
I would love to help you. This is amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Go to so if you go to operationshamrock.org, there's an opportunity for you to say that you want to be involved, and I would love to hear from you, and welcome to the team. Nadia, you had your
Can
hand
you
up.
put that in the chat, please?
I sure will.
And Nadia has her hand up.
Erin, thank you so much for what you do. It's wonderful. I always hear things from my husband. His industry is cybersecurity.
Mm.
So we are trained to teach our kids and also look for type of emails. He's with Cloudflare.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so if there
Yep.
is something that you need, I'll be happy to ask him, and he's super busy, but anything that could help this company of yours.
Thank you.
I am, yeah, it's unfortunately, it's all over from all countries, Iran, China, Africa. So definitely it's something that you need to educate the public, educate your kids and family. And actually, his company also offers protection for your computer. And their very, basic version is available for free. So you could
Oh,
have
that's great.
that available. Yeah. So this way, your computer and all the interactions that you guys are doing business wise is protected. So,
Oh, that's helpful. Yeah.
yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yes, sure.
Lynn.
Yeah, Erin, we need more people like you in your world. I mean, for someone to have your expertise and have the moral that in ethics to, like go and do something about it rather than, let this just happen to a bunch of innocent people is very applaudable. And my daughter just started her first year of law school. I'm going to share this with her, and I'm hoping that she can take to this because this would definitely be something that she would want to be involved in. And we had a family friend who reached out a couple of years ago to me and asked if I can connect him with someone who can lend him money. And I asked him, well, what is it for? And he's like, well, I can't really talk about it. And I said, well, I don't think anyone's going to lend you money if they don't know what it's for. And it did turn out to be exactly what you said. My friend, it devastated their family. The children didn't want to come back for Christmas. And it was like a very unsuspecting person. I mean, he was somebody, he was actually church friends, had high moral standing, volunteered a lot in the church, was an engineer, and just like all of, good husband, good dad, spoke up my son's baptism. I mean, just somebody you would never think would get into this and ended up wiping their, not just his family's savings, but his wife's as well. And I'm just curious, like, where does this start? And I'm sorry, I probably missed the first part of your presentation. Where does it start?
Yeah.
And maybe that point, I don't know if there could be more education about just where does it start?
Well, you think like me, and I'm wondering. So I'll answer that question, but I want to address something also that you said that was important. So I think it's the media loves to portray people who are targeted as over 60s cat ladies that are despondent and cannot get a date, and that is not who our victims are. Our victims are your neighbor, your client. someone you go to church with. They are people that you would not expect to have been hit like this. And so that's why we have to be so careful about how we talk about this. And I really appreciate the way you describe this person. It's like, this could happen to any of us. You think that it couldn't, but you don't know. This isn't happening to people on their best day. This is happening to people on the night that they got a really bad job review and they're sitting at home having a beer and Jessica pops up on their screen and they think, oh, I'll chat with Jessica for a second. So Lin, the way it starts is it shows up on your phone as one of those text messages that you didn't ask for that says, hey, can you pick me up at the airport? Or it shows up on someone friending you on LinkedIn or a dating app. And so, yes, I think there's a lot of awareness and education that could be done. And I also am a big believer that we need to start in our middle schools with this and our elementary schools with digital safety. And we really can't trust that we know who is on the other side of the keyboard anymore.
Right.
So I appreciate all those things that you brought up very much.
Okay,
Nimisha.
well, thank you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lynn. Did you have something else?
Oh, no. And I mean, I'm just like, okay, maybe he had a serving heart because it started off, oh, well, there's someone that is, she's doing so much good for the world, she's helping children and,
Right.
And now, he also wants to go and do the same thing and go help, more people in their community. So it came from a very innocent, I think, serving, because he is a really great person and he serves a lot of people and probably thinking, well, I can't do it with the money I have now, look at what she's doing. And then it came to like, oh, well, we need money to pay all these taxes with all this money that we got. And then the next call was like, oh my goodness, we may need to sell our house because now we've been scammed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he was too embarrassed. It was his wife who
I
came
know.
to me and said, yeah.
I know.
Yes.
And that's yet another good point. And I'm trying to remember which piece of this I wanted to talk to you about I don't think people understand the human toll, the toll that it really takes on people. I've seen suicides. I've seen
Yes.
adult children coming to me and saying, my dad killed himself and I didn't know why until I came to realize that he was caught up in this scam and felt he couldn't get out of it. So just one more plea for compassion. Oh, wait, I know what I was going to say, Lin, that they keyed in on your friend's kind heart from the beginning and then they exploited it. They realized this is how we get to him. We get to him by talking about serving people and using that money for good because that's what makes his heart beat. And so I'll tell you, I think it's always important to, I've said this, to normalize scams and scams happening to you. So I'm going to tell you something that happened to me about 6 months ago. I was on LinkedIn and people reach out to me all the time. This guy reached out to me and he told me he'd lost all this money and that he was thinking of hiring someone to help him recover the money. And I was saying, that's not a good use of your money. And we were disagreeing about that. And I could tell that he wasn't feeling good about the conversation. I tried to be empathetic, but it wasn't hitting. And I woke up the next morning before dawn and I was scrolling on my phone if you have this bad habit, I do. I'm scrolling on my phone and I see this email and somebody says, you know what, Erin West, I think you actually don't really care about victims that much. And I wrote something about it on my Facebook page. And I was thinking, it felt to me, I was like, oh, this is the same guy. Oh my gosh, this is the guy from last night. And so I hit it. And I was like, oh my God, I just did what I've told people 5,000 times not to do. Don't click on something from someone you don't know. And so the point is, it's not going to show up in an obvious way, like McAfee, like better than that now. My dad doesn't, but you guys do. And so it's going to show up in a way that tugs at your heartstrings. And what better way to get Erin West to click on a phishing link than to accuse her of not caring about victims? And so that's how it worked. So got to normalize it, got to own it, got to say, no, I'm not stupid. I was targeted in the way that was going to get me.
Interesting. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Nimisha.
Hey, Erin, thanks a lot. And ironically, I'm at geographical cultural and physical crossroads of everything that you mentioned, right? I'm a
Really?
big traveler. I've been to Cambodia. I've been to Myanmar. I couldn't imagine the kind of, you know, the sad things, because those people are genuinely very nice
They are.
and they're very poor. So
Yes.
I can understand when you say that they easily fall, victims. They are as much a victim as we are. And also, I'm a parent, and in the Bay Area,
Mhm.
I'm a practicing realtor. So it speaks to a lot of communities that I serve. And I mean, I'm definitely going to sign up for any volunteering opportunity. As an added advantage, my husband is also with Visa, and we come from financial
Hmm.
backgrounds.
Oh, good.
So, we would be more than happy to spread the word, and if and when you get some time, we can get you in present of in front of a few people, talking about it, educating them,
Yeah,
so that it's just mind boggling what's happening right now.
it really is. It
In
really is. And
fact,
it's, go ahead.
I'll just end it by saying that, in fact, a couple of weeks ago, I have been pushing my husband, saying that if you have any fraud or any safety measures for payments, for digital payments, because we see a lot of frauds in like like what Margaret said, right? A lot
Mm-hmm.
of card payment frauds happen,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to do is just spread awareness and be a little bit more cautious. So I was asking him if he can give me some material, and I don't think it's there. I don't think it's ready, that it's an open source material. You they will Someone will have to sit down and make it, despite of them having all the technology and wherewithal for it. So
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And just real quick, you mentioned you're a parent. The one thing that I did not touch upon is sextortion. And I want to tell you that that is rampant among children and adults, where within a few hours of a teenager meeting someone online, they are able to get them to share a picture of their private self, and then they're blackmailed with it. And we've seen a suicide in Santa Clara County. We've seen 41 suicides nationwide on this. I am that parent who, when my kids' friends get in the car, I talk about it and remind them that no young teenage girl is going to be asking you for a dick pic. That is just not something that we do as teenage girls, and that is absolutely 100% a way that you are going to get trapped. And then also, if this does happen to you, telling
thank
a
you.
parent, like, yeah, like you've got to tell a parent. So
Yeah,
so keep this in mind as well. Thank you for talking and asking about that.
thank you.
Michelin.
I had some of the same concerns. I know we talked about this last week about doing something on a consumer-facing basis, because I had asked Julie about inviting some of my senior clients to hear this, but this was for the professionals and so forth. So I would think, Erin, are you local? You are in Santa Clara County?
I do. I am in Las Vegas today, but I live in Santa Clara County.
Okay, that if this could be done sooner than later, kids are getting out of school, they're gonna have something, they need something to do, seniors are gonna be watching them or whatever. It just seems like this would be the season for educating them. And you had said these people are online. Some of my seniors don't even, they hate the computer, but yet it's their adult children that
Yeah.
are consciously or unconsciously scamming them out of their, I got one right now and I don't know what to do about it. In fact, I was thinking about reporting it to Adult Protective Services
Yeah, you should.
anonymously. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and let them
Yeah.
investigate, because it seems like as innocent as they think. They think they're helping their mom, when in fact, I'm reading this book. Thank you, Julie. That book, Fragile Years, and it talks about, of course, the financial abuse. A lot of times is from the relatives. So they don't have the best interest of their loved one in mind. It's their selfish motives. So
Yeah.
I just think
Yeah.
it's something that should be done immediately.
Agree. We can never have too much talk about this.
Yeah. Well, I have your information, so we hope to get
Awesome.
this moving quickly.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I'm gonna scour your website at Operation Shamrock, but I'm sure there's a opportunity for, if we do a consumer facing event, that we can bring this, either we can invite you or someone from your organization to come and speak to the group of whatever, you know, we come up with. We do quite a lot of community outreach, and this is one subject that we can educate our clients about, our families. We work with senior homeowners and the families of senior homeowners, and all of these elements, you know, can come into play at any moment in time. One of the reasons why we like to educate about things like this for our seniors real estate specialists, so that we're equipped, we know the tools and the resources. So if you guys probably do have resources like that from your organization to come talk to community talks.
Oh, I would welcome that. I think your audience is exactly the audience I'd love to be talking to. So yes, let's please work together to talk more about that. Margaret, I see your hand up.
Yeah, Julie, you are the leader in this. So when are you going to send us all a link to this talk? Because we can start with that. We can go with SFAR, we can go with MAR, we can talk to all the, we can all spare, because you are the one that put this together, and with Skip. So you need to start, you're the hub, and we need to go out from here. That's the important. God bless you that you
Definitely
started
And
this.
and an additional thing, I already sent Erin an email, and also Deidre from last week, you know, she was with Adult Protective Services and talking about scams. I'd like to get the both of you on a panel discussion like this in the coming months, that have you both on, and you've got a little bit different variations in what you do with scams, and that might be good to hear both of you together, and maybe we can put that on at some time.
Yeah, that
I
sounds like
think
a
we
great
should do
overlap.
that. Yeah, and we should do that at SCORE too, as well.
And
SCORE,
that,
Silvar, SFAR, everybody, everybody. Yeah.
and that guy you had on that talked about Compass and the seniors,
Yeah, Richard.
he'd be perfect. I talked to him.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Totally.
I'll
I
let
know,
you
right?
yeah, I did. I followed up, and we're right on board. So you can get a hold of Compass, Robert Ritvin.
Yeah,
Refkin, you can call him and say, this is what we're doing. Look at this. And they'll jump on board, and you'll be global.
I'm really
Totally.
inspired by you guys, because this is how we make change. That that it's from people like us who stand up and say, this isn't okay, what's happening. And so we're going to fight it with what we can.
Have you been talking to realtors at all? Any realtors?
No, this is my first entree into realtors. So thank you, my friend.
And
We're
I
going to Sacramento at the end of the month. So
oh, excellent.
On buses, like thousands and thousands and thousands of realtors are going to Sacramento at the end of the month. I'm going to bring all of this with me.
Excellent.
And I just
Great.
had a thought, you know, I'm also a member of the Certified Senior Advisors, as are some of our audience, and we might be able to use you for well, I can either do an article in our quarterly journal, and I'm on the editorial board for that, but also we might be able to get you for a webinar as well, and that might be another way to, it's going to be a different audience, but they're all working primarily with seniors.
I had no idea I was talking to such a can-do group of people today. So what a pleasure.
It should have done, really.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Joe, Joe, you can talk, Joe, really. Mr. Lamb, thank you.
Yeah. What do you like me to talk?
Well, so we are planning on a consumer-facing event out there at the
Yeah.
Villages. Erin, are you familiar with the Villages out in Evergreen?
I do, but I have not been out there, so it would be a pleasure to come out there.
Yeah, I would love to make arrangement, have you come out to give a talk, you know, so there's a large community here, you know.
Yeah.
I mentioned to you, I type, but you responded to that over a year ago. I almost fell in that trap, exactly what you described, getting this,
know.
I have an uncle, exactly the identical story.
Yep.
That could have
Yep.
been that you was talking to me.
I know. They're so clever.
It was exactly like that, so of course
Yeah.
I wouldn't budge and I wouldn't give anything, so I'm but the other side, she got to me, was looking at property. That side, as a realtor, I
Yeah.
just, well, your client asked you to look for a property. You do
Of
back
course you
then,
do. Yeah.
I'm getting a lot more selective now, but yeah, exactly like that, So of course I wouldn't open an account and all that, giving money. I wouldn't even start doing that, because I know that side, that's dark
Yeah.
on that side. But I did waste a lot of time on that. Almost got
I
me.
know.
So,
I,
but
Margaret,
I'd
did you?
love to make arrangement for
yeah,
you.
are you talking about the villages? That's the senior living in place? I know my client.
No,
No, the
no.
No,
village,
no, no,
no,
no, different.
That's the problem with this,
yeah,
the villages. There's so
Well,
many people using it. The virtual retirement village is what you're talking about, which is we've actually had a talk on that before about the communities that help with living in place, like Beacon
village to
Hill in
village. That's
Boston.
village to village.
And then, of course, you have like the villages in Florida, and you get the ones out here, and they're just the names of a community, but it's confusing because they're two different things.
Okay.
So be
I know
careful
that.
when you hear about the villages.
No, they're
Sure.
all part of seniors, and my client is the one who started it. She invented it, and
Wow.
her name is Sutro. So that's mayor of San Francisco, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
I am definitely gonna call her, and yeah.
You go, Margaret.
I
Oh,
had a
we,
follow-up question for Erin. When
Sure.
she said that she hit on the button when this guy said you're not doing anything
Yeah.
for seniors, da 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 da. Well, what was the
Yeah.
result of that? You said
Yeah.
you
So here's what I did. So I immediately I powered down my phone and I drove myself over to the task force I work with. And I was like, you guys, what did I do? And so not everybody has a React task force to drive over to. But they said what that was they were trying to find out your exact location.
Hmm.
That what I did by clicking on that, it's called a canary token, but it essentially lets them know my IP address, which they then could use to figure out where I'm located.
Wow.
Yeah.
And don't forget, there's an awful lot of phone scams too, not just the online and text versions too. And that's a whole nother subject, really.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
it's overwhelming.
It is. It is. And it's just a lot of money. We're not talking about small amounts of money. And, Lin knows from her friend that like people are having to sell their houses. I mean, I talk to people all the time that are having to sell their houses because I spoke to a man in Foster City. His adult children reached out to me. He had lost $4 million in this.
Oh.
And we have people of immense wealth in Santa Clara County and that have access to their wealth and that can move it through and so he lost his entire family fortune and then took out a home equity line to pay the taxes and now he has no income to pay off the monthly HELOC and he's going to have to sell his home. I mean, it's amazing to think that you go from one day being a successfully retired person with plenty of money to last your life and pay for your grandchildren's college. And the next day you're literally eating vegetables out of a can. I mean, that's where we find these people.
Well, we're doing that now with the tariffs, unfortunately.
So us as seniors real estate specialists, when we're talking to senior homeowners and the families of senior homeowners, what are some of the questions or the red flags that we could ask or that we could recognize and not that we would know anything about anything, but if we hear something, we want to be able to say something and have the adequate tools and resources to do something.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I would say that you are unlikely to hear about it from the senior themselves, but that if you have the opportunity to connect with other members of their family and they tell you things like, my mom is talking to someone but she puts the phone away when I come in. She's being secretive about this new relationship she has because they do all the things that they do to domestic violence victims. They isolate them. They make them believe that I'm the only one you can trust. So when we hear anything about mom has a new boyfriend and I'm really not allowed to know that much about it, and I think that maybe she's giving money, those are the things we have to, I mean, there's really no secret to it other than that if it doesn't feel right, it's not right because we know this is happening to so many people. So if it's not sounding right, there's more to look at. So I guess I would say, and what should you do? There are some tools in your arsenal. One, direct them to my website. My website is meant to be a one-stop shop for victims of this or families, and we're still building it out. We're still working on it. But there's another thing. There is a John Oliver special, not special, but I don't know if you've ever seen Late Night with, or whatever it's called, last week tonight with John Oliver, but he has a great segment on pig butchering. And when his producers called me and told me they were going to do this, I was like, oh, you cannot be making fun of pig butchering victims. They're like, no, 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 we get it. We get it's a big problem. And they did 25 minutes on it, and it is exceptional. And it explains exactly how this goes. And so so adult children will say, my mom's in this and I don't know how to get her out. And I'll say, well, tell her to watch this John Oliver thing. And she goes, oh yeah, no, my mom watched that. And she said, yeah, that's pig butchering, but I'm not being pig butchered. I'm in love and my thing is different. So, we gotta poke them with everything we got because, but there's sometimes they are too entrenched and it's really difficult to pull them out. They are under a psychological spell.
I think it's really primarily about awareness and education. The
Yeah.
more the people know about this, the more they're going to be aware of it and not fall for the scams. But we really got to get the word out. So doing things like this, and hopefully when we get the recording done, you guys can send it out to your colleagues too, and just spread the word. Let them know that it's a huge problem, huge business, and it's just growing. Nothing's stopping it.
No, nothing's stopping it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I believe I'm going to be in touch with you guys again, and I look forward to it. I look forward to
Sorry, I
really
do
working
have
together.
one more question because
Sure.
that law students are always looking for externships. Is there a division of that you're working closely or of in the court system where they're specifically focusing on victims of these romance scams or crypto scams or any online scams? Because I don't know, I think it would be very interesting for her and her friends to get the word out like, hey, this is something that we can help in with the next generation because they obviously know more about technology than we do. Everybody.
For sure they do. For sure they do. I haven't set up anything formally. I do run that group of lawyers, investigators, analysts who do law enforcement work in this area. If there is interest from your daughter or from any of her friends, I would love to try and figure out something that they could participate in because I really believe that we need more than this 54-year-old woman out here talking about it. We need people in their 20s and 30s, and we need people in their 60s, and we need people in their teens. So yes, I would really welcome that opportunity.
Okay, and then I'm looking at your website. Is your contact information on here?
It may not be because they may be trying to protect me, but I will put it in the chat one more time. It's easy. It's my first name, Erin, at operationshamrock.org.
Okay, thank you so much. And that's all one word, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
And she's also on LinkedIn if you want to join with her.
Yes.
Oh.
Erin, the best way to reach you is via email. Would that work?
Yes.
Oh. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin, so much. This is mind-boggling information.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
sure is. Thank you for taking the time and thank you for staying on over an hour to discuss it with me. I really appreciate your interest and look forward to hearing more from you.
Well, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. This is going to be we're gonna install this into our systems now. I appreciate it.
Outstanding. All right, you guys, take care and thank you so much.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you
So
do.
if we want to do some follow-up, I'm just so amazed. There was so much information
You think?
of a couple of things that we did not know that we didn't even know we didn't even know. I just can't even. So, let's switch gears for a bit because I'm just overwhelmed by all of that, kind of a little verklempt. So I'm going to introduce Zane to our group. Zane is one of our senior living affiliates, and I'm going to go ahead and let Zane give us a little bit of an overview of his business and how he helps us with our senior communities. Go ahead.
Thank you, Julie. And thanks for bringing on Erin. That was really amazing, eye-opening for me too. So I'm the owner with Send Me a Pro in the area. Send Me a Pro is a franchise, and I'm a franchisee owner with Send Me a Pro in the San Jose West Campbell area. I started off with my own in-home personal training business, KaiQuest Fitness, in 2017, and I also am a personal trainer still, and I still train clients. And when I joined with Send Me a Pro franchise about 3 years ago, I joined because they have the system that really helps to better connect my clients with my team of trainers with an app. And I did not know how to develop an Uber-like app myself. I'm not tech savvy, but they had it in place and it was unique and it really helped bring convenience to my clients so that they can see the prices, the trainer, the pro on the app, and then be able to match up the right trainer with the client's schedule and location. And so it brought everything together for me. And so I'm the owner with my own business, but I'm doing business as DBA Send Me a Pro San Jose West. And the app is great, but what I am is I'm the matchmaker. So I help. So with Send Me a Pro, we're unique in the sense that instead of going on Thumbtack or Angie's List and hoping that you find the right pro, we have a satisfaction guarantee and what's called a good fit guarantee, so that with our seniors, when we serve seniors as well in our senior living communities, the activities directors there, the fitness coordinators at the senior living homes are confident knowing that they can work with me to make sure that they are matched up with the right instructor, whether it be for the memory care group, assisted living group, or independent living group, so that I match up the right instructor that has the skills to work with those seniors. So for example, with the memory care group, we often bring in some music because it helps with memory and it helps with joy, helps bring in life and enjoyment. And so we do sometimes the seated Zumba classes, which really is not strictly Zumba. Okay, it's a lot of music and movement where they do have fun, yeah, move around, but they don't necessarily only do a certain type of Zumba. It's a really whatever is best for the clients and what the activities directors say they would like to have. But it's a lot of fun. So we work with that group. We also work with the assisted living groups where we do some of the seated and standing exercises, whether it be yoga, Tai Chi, or full body fitness types of things that help bring in balance, prevent falls, and again, strengthens the coordination and muscles for the residents there, so they can walk better and have better balance and just have more energy. And for independent living, we do some aquatics fitness, so water aerobics, and the group that is pretty independent, they can kind of live on their own. So like at the Terraces of Los Gatos, we work there with the independent living group and assisted living groups. We work at the Watermark as well on Bascom. We work at the Forum in Cupertino, which is a huge facility there in Cupertino, the Forum. And it's just been a joy to be able to grow in that way, in addition to serving our clients at their homes. So that I think the way we can work together, Julie, and with your team is if we see any of our clients at their homes say, you know, I'm really looking for a professional that can help me with my mortgage to find the best rates or reverse mortgage or sell my home or et cetera, that has to do with real estate, then I can talk to Julie and say, do you know someone like this? Or do you know the best person that would be a good fit for this client of mine? Or that's living at this senior living home? Or this activities director? Or this fitness coordinator? So I have these connections with people as I continue to grow, and I want to grow with you too. So if you have anyone that you know that would benefit from having the right fit of an instructor that's vetted, verified, certified, qualified, background checked. Okay. And so I really vet these people to make sure that they know what they're doing, that they come with good references. I check their references, and they need at least a 1-year experience at minimum to be working with me. So if you know of anyone that could benefit, I also attend my BNI group every Thursday afternoon, and you're welcome to come. I'm putting a little plug there, but that's just another professional group I belong to. And so we can network together. So thanks for your time. And
What are your rates like?
They range from the 30-minute to the 1-hour sessions. So they're kind of what's called the fair rates. They're not the cheapest, they're not the most expensive. They're kind of in the middle. So they range from between, I'd say 75-ish or so for the 30-minute to the 1-hour, which is as much as 115, depending on how many sessions the person commits to up front. So we can get the rates down if they decide to commit to a pack, a larger pack for the lower rates. And we have the 4-month, 8-month, and 12-month packs for the 1-to-1 in-home services. And then with the senior homes, living facilities, we have typically it's around $75, $80, $90, depending on the length of the class. The aquatics fitness is a little higher because it's a specialty. So that would be like around 115 for a 45-minute aquatics fitness class per class. But the facilities directors, and they're thankful to have someone that knows what they're doing, and they're willing to pay for it because it's a big demand especially for luxury senior living homes like the terraces of Los Gatos and the Forum and places like that, because they want to make their residents happy so they have good client retention, because that's of course where it's also a business for them, so they want to retain their clients.
And how many clients do you have now?
So I have, I would say total would be about 200, including the clients from our senior living facilities, probably about 40 to 50 in-home clients. And then for the facilities, we have 6 locations. And so I really haven't really counted exactly how many, because in the classes they continue to grow. And so like maybe each class is about 30, maybe 20 to 30 participants. And so since we have 6 locations now, I'm just thinking around 200 total, 300 maybe clients. So.
And you're in-home, you have people that you work with that do the in-home visits for.
Yes. Yeah. So that's really was where we started. And then I had a couple of senior living communities reach out to me. One of the first was Chateau Cupertino, then Atria Willow Glen. And then Jill Knickerbocker at Atria Willow Glen said, you ought to go around and go to these other places, because they're looking for people like you and they need people like you. And actually I found out that from Neil, Neil, I forget his last name, but Neil said that he actually owns a senior living home in Modesto, I believe he said, and they are mandated to provide certain amount of activities for their seniors. They're mandated. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, the RCFEs do, yes.
Yes. And so they have to provide a certain amount of activities, whether they provide it in-house from some of their staff or they hire out for a vendor like myself. But the advantages of using a vendor like myself is that they can just kind of like put it on me to make sure that each of their classes are filled at all times and they don't have to manage it. So it's less time and handling and stress on them. They have enough on their plate, a lot of them. They don't
Exactly.
have to manage these classes sometimes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so that's why it's an advantage to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we do run across families where one family member is living in a senior living community and they're not exactly sociable and they don't want to go to the little class that's downstairs every morning at 7 o'clock with other people. So for Zane to come or send one of Zane's people to them, to their particular apartment in that community is a great opportunity. And I was on a call yesterday and heard this story, a senior family story, and the parent, and it was a professional like ourselves, and they found their parent had been in their home, in their chair for 4 days. By the time they got alert, 4 days.
Wow. Yeah.
I do that all the time.
4 days in a row. Okay, so there's a lot of stories, reasons why that occurred. It's just the whole idea of it, and paying attention to that or being on alert with that is one of the things that we can be sensitive to with our families. And the one thing that I'm tying this about is like, Skip, you know, yeah, you could be in your chair for a certain amount of time, but at least carve out 30 minutes to get up and do something. You know, I have to do it too.
Well, I go to the bathroom.
Well,
I
that
get
counts.
something-
Okay.
I get something to eat.
It's important for all of us to
Get a
move.
beer.
And so we
So
provide
just
that coaching.
go ahead.
Yeah, so that's to that point. We provide the trainers sometimes to our clients who are so busy. A lot of them are busy professionals that they want to save travel time to a gym if we come to their home. And so their goals are to reduce the body fat, increase energy and flexibility and muscle, but they don't know how to do it in the best way and time efficient way. So they hire someone who knows what they're doing to come to their home to do it. They don't want to travel to a gym for whatever reason, save time, whatever. They don't want to be seen around a bunch of people, whatever it is. And so, but we all need to get up and move. And just sometimes we have to have someone come and schedule 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour to make us do it, because otherwise we won't consistently.
Exactly.
And we won't have that benefit of better productivity, better energy, better mental focus, all those things that we all need to function at our best. So a lot of people reach out to us for that reason.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that so much. Anybody have any questions? I think
I have a question.
Go ahead. Yeah, Lynn.
But it's later. It's actually not related to the services. Sorry. It's related to you going to Sacramento.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we can be done with you, Zane. And
Sorry. Thank you.
I'm
That
so
was good.
excited. Yeah. And then, because Zane, I think there's so many different things that I think I'm going to get you engaged in with, and we're just going to be so busy going forward. I really appreciate you being here and part of the group.
I'm going to drop
Part
off
of
because
our group.
I got a call I've got to get on, but thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Okay, Lynn. So we got to get signed up to go. Did you see the email for that from SCORE?
From SCORE. I'm not a part of SCORE. I'm part of Silvar.
Oh, well, but Silvar should have it too. Everybody's going.
Yes.
Wednesday.
Well, I wanted to find out, are there a group of us like going together? Like, are you guys carpooling up, or what are your plans? Because I went a couple. What's that?
What do you?
SCORE provide a bus to go, right? I think.
Yeah, SCORE is having a bus, but so that's a good question, Lynn, because I just saw that email yesterday from SCORE. to get everybody signed up. Now, Silvar might even have the same kind of thing going on where they might be organizing Silvar members to get on a bus to go to Sacramento. So check your Silvar schedule.
Oh,
And or even call them up and say, hey, are we going to Ledge Day?
well,
They should know
they
what
are
you're talking
definitely
about.
going, but I don't think they're as organized as you guys. Maybe I should join you guys. No, but
Yeah, maybe you should just come over to SCORE someday.
yeah,
Anytime.
well, I could. I mean,
I
I think
know.
unless they are
So-
full, if
The
they have
bus.
space, I'm sure
bus.
probably they will take
Yeah.
you for silver member.
Yeah, you could probably
Oh,
just
yeah,
show up.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
but are you guys, so you guys are all going up in the bus and then you're staying at the hotels there?
Well, I'm
No,
gonna
come
find,
back the
no,
same
the
day.
bus goes, I'm gonna talk to Jody later today and find out how full a bus is. I will get the answer to that question, Joe, because that's a good point.
Yeah,
Lin,
okay.
the bus goes early in the morning and comes back the same day, Wednesday.
Oh.
So
Oh.
it's a long, long day, but
The,
Ledge
the
Day
only
goes for
drawback
3
is
days.
they don't stay for the evening because you're going to miss the evening one. So a lot of people will drive instead, but
Oh, okay. Because
don't
in the
want to
years
drive.
past, I went the day before and I have a friend there. So if anybody wants to ride up and have a good time, we could stay at my friend's house. You know, I
That's
could
also-
drive and then
Yep.
come back the next day afterwards. But that's
That's
what I
also an
did. But
option.
unfortunately, my friends whom I went with last time, they're not available this year. So I'm like, oh, okay.
So I'll find out the current status from Jody from the SCORE office this afternoon. And I'll send out a little note to everybody and see if we want to gather up a group of us to go. I can only go for the 1 day. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
And really, I just started to think about it this week, like yesterday. So.
Thank you, Julie. Well,
Okay.
if I do go, I do hope to meet you in person there or something.
Oh, we will have a blast.
I'm sure. No, it's been fun every time I've gone. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
everyone.
Lin.
All right.
Has
Holly.
anybody gone to Ledge Day before? I have.
I have.
Yeah, some
It's a
years
lot.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Julie, I had a quick question about
Yeah, go ahead.
The class, the reverse mortgage class. Is that
Tomorrow.
tomorrow on your link, or is the lady sending out that link? The presenter.
So in the email on the PDF that's attached to the email
Yeah.
is the QR code that you use to get registered for the webinar tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. I did see that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be some good stuff tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So that's separate from SRES.
So that's from New American Funding. That's our affiliate, our SRES affiliate in our group. So Maggie is a participant in our group. Dan is a participant in our group. They're both NAF, New American Funding.
Okay.
So Maggie Castillo is a participant in our group, and she's invited us to participate in this webinar tomorrow. And I thought it was really kind of a nice thing and pertinent for us that we get a CE credit as realtors. We get a CE credit for attending the webinar.
Okay.
So that elevated it to another level, and I thought it was a good idea. Plus, they're going to have a lot of, there's a lot of new information that comes out every single day on these FHA products, and the HECM is an FHA product.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always good to hop on anybody's webinar that talks about the HECMs, the home equity conversion mortgages by FHA.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was a lot of stuff today. Yeah. I mean, really, I was a little verklempt over learning about that stuff from Erin. It's just, ugh. But it's good for us to know.
Absolutely.
So we did learn something today that we didn't know, and now we know.
What's that?
That Skip needs to get up out of his chair more often.
I don't have to go to the bathroom yet.
Hey,
And I
Julie.
hope we get on this thing about the consumer facing thing on the scam deal and financial
Oh,
abuse of seniors. I hope that happens real quick.
yeah, Michelin, you know, I might put another little call out to those of us, and then we should have in person, those of us in our neighborhood, an in-person little brainstorming session to have this consumer facing thing. Joe and I are already starting to work on it. Out of
Mhm.
Villages, he lives there. So
Mm.
I've tasked him with, Joe, you live there. You got to set us up with, I need all the menus, I need how much the rooms cost. I need to know what are the rules because they have a very severe HOA. And so he's supposed to be doing all that. And that's
Okay.
where we're starting.
Okay. Because I've even asked Michelle myself for my clients to help out because they need it. I mean, some serious stuff is going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. All right, you guys.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Julie,
Anything?
I have
Go
just
ahead.
one last question.
Yeah,
I am
Namisha.
hi. I am meeting you guys for the first time, and I've just written to Skip, and he was kind enough to share the recording or the Zoom link of your webinar. And boy, oh boy, it was the first time, and it was quite a shocker.
Oh,
So
Are
it's like a
you
bombshell dropping on me.
are you available? I can call you in a few minutes.
Yes, Skip.
Okay, I
We'll
got
chat.
some things to wrap up and then I'll give you a call.
We'll chat later. Yes.
well, it is so nice to meet you. And where are you calling in from?
I basically am with Coldwell Banker Palo Alto. I
Okay.
am right now in the peninsula, so yes, I'm
Nice.
in the Bay Area.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. And okay, and you guys can talk and then we'll talk more. And okay.
Yes. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
All right, thank
I'll see
you.
you.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you, Skip. Bye.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Got anything else for the good of the order here?
Goodbye, Julie. Thank you for another wonderful presentation.
Thank
Erin
you so
is
much.
amazing.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Send me the link,
Bye,
Julie.
Roni. Have a good week. All
Good.
right, everybody. Anthony, I'll see you at work.
Send me the link, Julie.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Ciao, ciao.
Send me the link.
Yes, I will. Yes, sir. I'm right on it.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you.